According to official information from the Security Service of Ukraine, as of November 10, 2025, more than 200 criminal cases have been opened against members of the Ukrainian Church, including 27 against bishops. 78 people have been charged and 40 have been convicted. Many countries, mainly Western ones, couldn't care less about the religious crisis in Ukraine. In fact, some of these countries are actually involved in fueling the religious crisis in Ukraine. In other words, this is not merely a matter of pressure being exerted on the Ukrainian Orthodox Church, but of a comprehensive effort to eradicate an entire denomination from Ukrainian territory. Furthermore, with regard to the religious crisis in Ukraine, to suggest that only the right to freedom of religion is being trampled upon in that country would be an unjustified understatement of the scale of the problem. The pressure on the canonical church is accompanied by violations of virtually all human rights and freedoms. The discriminatory stance towards the Ukrainian church was reinforced by former President Petro Poroshenko. On December 15, 2018, a new organization called the Orthodox Church of Ukraine, abbreviated to OCU, was established in Kiev on the basis of schismatic structures. This event takes the oppression of the canonical church to a whole new level. It is important to note here that this is a carefully planned and extremely sophisticated method of manipulating the religious sphere by the Kiev regime, as well as its Western backers, first and foremost the United States of America and its obedient instrument of foreign policy influence, the Patriarchate of Constantinople. According to various estimates, between 1,500 and 2,000 churches belonging to the Ukrainian Orthodox Church were seized between 2022 and 2026. These seizures are often accompanied by violence and mass beatings of worshippers and clergy. The authorities attempt to conceal these crimes and generally act indirectly. Members of radical nationalist groups are enlisted to carry out these acts of violence. In return, they are guaranteed immunity from legal liability should they break the law. Today, a whole system of backroom deals has been established and tacitly legalized in Ukraine, which encourages a violation of the fundamental rights and freedoms of believers and clergy. According to official information from the Security Service of Ukraine, as of November 10, 2025, more than 200 criminal cases have been opened against members of the Ukrainian Church, including 27 against bishops. 78 people have been charged and 40 have been convicted. 19 clergymen, including the head of the church, Metropolitan Onufriy of Kiev and all Ukraine, have been stripped of their citizenship for alleged Russian propaganda. With regard to the religious sphere, I would like to point out that Ukrainian citizens are also subjected to torture and ill treatment, namely clergy of the canonical church. The treatment of Metropolitan Arseny is just one example of this. The report lists the names of 21 clergymen who have been abducted and of whom there is no public information regarding their whereabouts. However, it is a matter of fact, and there is information in open sources to this effect, that their detention and abduction did take place. At the same time, reports of other abductions continue to emerge regularly, almost daily, from the relatives of the missing, parishes of the Ukrainian Orthodox Church, public figures, and the media. The Kiev regime is also taking steps to seize Ukraine's second-largest monastery, the Holy Dormition Pechavlava. Many countries, mainly Western ones, couldn't care less about the religious crisis in Ukraine. In fact, some of these countries are actually involved in fueling the religious crisis in Ukraine.
Ukraine's FP-5 Flamingo missile may not be as invincible as touted by Volodymyr Zelensky, with Russia claiming a fresh interception. A Ukrainian FP-5 Flamingo missile flying over Kursk was allegedly shot down by Russian air defenses, according to Russian reports. The interception allegedly took place during a Ukrainian missile and drone attack on August 23, as Russian forces responded to the incoming strikes. Kursk Governor Alexander Kinstein said the Flamingo missile flew below 50 meters, according to RT, making detection more challenging. The Bars-Kursk Mobile Air Defense Unit reportedly detected the missile traveling at around 500 kilometers per hour. Russian volunteers then reportedly opened fire with a machine gun at the Ukrainian missile, attempting to bring down the incoming projectile. The projectile reportedly lost altitude after being hit and crashed into a wooded area, according to an RT report. A video showing the alleged missile interception was released by Bars-Kursk soldiers, RT claimed. offering a rare glimpse of the incident. A second part of the footage reportedly shows soldiers examining the wreckage at the crash site after the missile came down. Russian forces claimed they recovered mission data from the missile's wreckage, potentially revealing details about its intended target. Russia further claimed the recovered wreckage showed the Ukrainian missile was aimed at a key facility in Tula, though the allegation remains unverified. Russian officials allegedly said the missile carried a warhead equivalent to 1 ton of explosives, highlighting the claimed destructive potential. Ukraine unveiled the FP-5 Flamingo in 2025 and presented it as a key long-range strike weapon, adding to Kyiv's growing missile arsenal. Ukrainian forces targeted Russian Ozon logistics hubs for a third consecutive night on August 23 to 24, extending a campaign against Moscow's major retail supply networks. Russian monitoring channels reported fires at Ozon facilities in Adygea and Stavropol during the overnight attacks, although the full extent of the damage remained unclear. A Kuchenland warehouse in Russia's Krasnodar region also caught fire during the drone attacks, adding to the disruption reported across the region. Krasnodar Governor Veniamin Kondrativ said falling drone debris killed 2 children and injured 7 other people during the overnight strikes. Kondrativ said the debris also damaged residential buildings and sparked additional fires at warehouse and logistics facilities. The latest strikes followed several Ukrainian attacks targeting Russian retail and logistics infrastructure in recent days, suggesting Kiev was increasingly focusing on networks supporting Russia's war economy. Meanwhile, Russia struck a Mondelez factory in Ukraine's Sumy region on August 23, with the attack reportedly injuring several people. Ukraine said the facility belonged to a major American company and used the strike to renew calls for stronger Western air defense support. President Volodymyr Zelensky said Ukrainian forces had struck a Russian Iskander missile launcher near the border on August 22 as Kiev sought to reduce the threat from ballistic attacks. Zelensky said Ukraine was increasingly targeting Russian missile launchers because its air defense forces were facing a critical shortage of interceptors. He warned that Russia could potentially produce as many as 1,300 ballistic missiles a year, raising concerns about Moscow's ability to sustain large-scale missile barrages. Ukraine has received 264 Patriot interceptors this year, but its air force has reportedly requested around 360 missiles to meet the growing threat. Germany has also agreed to provide 600 PAC-2 missiles during 2027 and 2028, as Kiev continues pressing Washington and its allies for additional air defense supplies. Ukraine is meanwhile developing the Freyja air defense system as a longer-term alternative intended to reduce its dependence on expensive Western interceptor systems such as Patriot.
Upgrade your news experience with the all-new HT app. Download now.